and welcome to Chai Football. I'm Shruthi Nair.
And I am Joe Morrison.
And today we are talking about the business of football, aren't we? That's very, very exciting.
The business of...
Indian football.
Indian football.
Yes,
Okay.
of course, the business of Indian football, all things Indian football. We'll delve into the finances, we'll delve into the money, we'll delve into the big dollars. So, what's new?
What's new in terms of what?
What's new in terms of what's happening? Tell us. So, Joe basically sent me a WhatsApp with a screen grab, which I have somewhere here. We can probably pull it up on screen as well. Which the average, it's the average profit and loss of ISL clubs.
You mean the average loss and loss?
There's one green and
One
about
profit.
10 red. And that is abysmal. What is going on? Walk us through what the finances look like right now and how we got here.
So, well, it doesn't look good, does it?
It doesn't.
If
no.
one club has made a profit and all the others have made a loss. So, first of all, I think it's worth just making clear, what was the year period? It's from when the ISL, the Indian Super League, started. So it was 2014 to, what was the...
2024.
2024, right. So
Yeah.
a 10-year period.
Yeah.
And it's pretty abysmal reading when you consider that all the clubs bar one made a loss.
The one that's made a profit is Bengaluru FC.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, that is a little bit misleading because Bengaluru FC is owned by the JSW group,
Right.
the steel group, the Jindals. So they have, how can I put this in simple terms? They do what Manchester City have done for years, which is because they've got this big, powerful, wealthy owner,
Yeah.
they sponsor their own club and they give, let's call it, very healthy sponsorships, shirt sponsorships, etc., to the club. Very healthy funding, just like Manchester City do in terms of the Etihad Arena. Is it the Etihad Arena? No, it's not the Etihad Arena. What's the City of Manchester Stadium called? The Etihad.
Old Trafford, no. That's Manchester United.
Get out!
Manchester United, no?
Get out!
Sorry.
Out! That is blasphemy, by the way.
We're talking about...
I am not going to be seen on the same street or within 100 yards of you for at least a year now.
Do you know what? I did a tour of Old Trafford, which is why it's top of mind. Yeah, but sorry.
Anyway,
so Sheikh Mansour is Manchester City.
So it's obviously state-owned Manchester City.
Yeah.
So all of the state-owned conglomerates of the United Arab Emirates or Abu Dhabi in particular pump healthy money into Manchester City. Well, JSW is the same.
Right.
So they started a little bit later. So they weren't in the ISL in the first couple of seasons. So therefore, they weren't in that what I call the nonsense period, where they were absolutely throwing cash at finished players, over-the-hill players,
Right.
that were getting sackloads of money for... No, it wasn't. Was it Del Piero or was it Trezeguet that was injured for pretty much... I think they played a total of 40 minutes in the entire first season of the Indian Super League and
how much did they
got
get paid
$2
for
million,
it?
I think it was, for supposedly 2 months' work.
Oh.
So all of that nonsense. So they came in after that. So it's a little bit misleading because some of the others that are on that list, and I'm sure you're going to mention a few of them, have to generate their own sort of hard-earned revenues in that regard.
Right. So just so I understand as well, right? I know that the business model for Indian football is a little different to the business model elsewhere. What is the business model and how is it different?
It's I was going to say it's a hybrid model, but remember it was originally based on the MLS in America, the Major League Soccer, which is franchise. In fact, most of American sport is franchise.
Right.
You know, basketball is franchise. What does franchise mean? It means you pay a fee to buy a club, a franchise, a sporting franchise or a sporting club, and you're then locked in. No promotion and relegation. You're in this exclusive club.
Okay.
Now, the good thing about a franchise means that you can invest money for the future knowing that you're never going to be relegated and therefore go to the second division, third division, where your revenues are tiny.
So basically it's not performance-based then?
It's not performance-based, no.
Understood.
So you can finish bottom of the NBA and you don't go anywhere.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very smart, right?
It's a model that works in America,
Yeah.
but doesn't work anywhere else in the world that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Certainly in football, that's for sure. And I think America, someone's going to fact check me on this. I think the US is the only place in the world that operates their football league on a franchise model.
Right. So
I think.
clearly that model hasn't fared well for ISL,
Well,
considering.
Correct. It hasn't.
Yeah.
Look, by the way, Indian Super League clubs aren't the only clubs in the world that lose money. There's a lot of clubs in Europe lose money.
Yeah.
So let's just make that clear straight out the gate.
But is it 9 out of 10 clubs that's losing money?
No. So the franchise model doesn't work in India, but I know why they did it. They did it because the IPL, the Indian Premier League Cricket, was a franchise system, is a franchise system,
Yeah.
and of course exploded on the world scene. Generate, what did the last rights deal go for? It was one of the biggest rights deals in history. It was like 5 billion or something. I don't follow cricket, so I don't know the exact details. But it was a very successful model. So what they've done is they had their commercial partner, IMG, which is a massive global sports marketing and rights agency. They come over to India. They say, you should do it the way we do it in America. They've gone, ooh, that's interesting. And at the same time, looking over their shoulder, IPL, massive success, all this hoopla, put the two heads together, and that's what you come up with. You come up with a franchise system.
Right. So, but that's not the only source of revenue, though, for these clubs, right? I mean, I'm sure there's sponsorships and merchandise and the usual hoopla.
You're absolutely bang on. I mean, look, there should be.
Yeah.
But there isn't.
I'd imagine there is, right?
Well,
like we've seen the, what's that? Motor Cup. The title sponsor for ISL and Apollo and stuff. We've seen a few brands out there. I mean, I'm sure that's...
So look, these are the main revenue streams for a football club. Number one is and always will be TV rights.
Right.
So the Premier League, the majority of the revenues for the clubs in the Premier League come from the TV deal, which the last time I checked for the last rights cycle was about 10 billion.
Right.
Okay, that's serious money.
Yeah.
So now, then you have match day. So selling tickets for the fans to come into the stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
As part of the tickets, you have corporate hospitality, which of course is the same as going to see the game, except you're getting a meal and drinks and VIP, and you can get to charge people a lot more. So the revenue per head of a corporate hospitality person is way more than a person who's just sitting in the stand and getting a burger and a pie or whatever.
Yeah.
So you've got match day experience, you've got advertising, so advertising hoardings, shirt, sponsorship, all the rest of it. General sponsorship. So we talked about the Etihad Stadium, which is Manchester City.
Sorry, my bad.
Not
I know.
Manchester United.
Blasphemous. Sorry, my bad. Kill me.
I would love to fulfill that request.
Coming back.
So, and you've also got player trading.
Okay.
Now, where does Indian football fall down? TV rights. Ask me about TV rights in a minute. So just park that one for a second. TV rights is pitiful. It's minuscule. Match day experience. Don't own their own stadiums. So how do you maximize the monetization of the stadium when you don't own the stadium? Corporate hospitality? I don't know when the last time you went to an Indian Super League game was. The corporate hospitality is this table. And the people you can get around it. What else did I say? Advertising. Yeah, there's a reasonable amount of advertising.
Yeah.
And sponsorship. Yeah, that bit's okay. Player trading. Terrible.
No.
Absolutely. Certainly with regards to Indian players.
Right. So broadcast rights, let's talk about that, right? So what's going on there? We know that there isn't as huge an audience for Indian football, etc. But since 2014, however, since ISL, there's been an interest. There's been this newfound sort of enthusiasm for football. So what's going on with the broadcast rights when there are takers?
Well, they did something in the inception of the league which I've never seen done before, and was, at best, is weird. At worst, is dubious.
Okay.
And that is the broadcaster, which was Star Sports, is also, or was also at that time, a shareholder in the league.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So remember, what you should do with
Which would mean monopoly. no other channel can then.
Well, exactly. Well, so coming back to, let's just take the Premier League as an example. Like I said, most of the money comes from TV rights.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you and I are a new TV channel and we would like to buy the rights for the Indian Super League.
Right.
Would you pay money out of your pocket to buy the rights to a league when a competitor channel
Yeah.
is a part owner in the league?
Exactly. Makes no sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Would you? I wouldn't.
Yeah. Why would
And
they?
then on top of that, by the way, this wasn't Inception. This has only come about in recent years. You know, Viacom,
Yeah.
Viacom 18,
Yeah.
which is a Reliance streaming channel.
Yeah.
Brilliant Reliance streaming channel. Well, Reliance own the majority share, the lion's share of FSDL, which is the rights holder for the league.
Right.
So now, Shruti and Joe Inc.,
Yeah.
who we have our own broadcast empire, for
Yeah.
example, now we not only have to go in and consider to buy the rights to the league as going against the competitor of Star Sports, who are part owners, but also against Viacom, who are part owners.
Mm.
So tell me why you would, in any common sense, as a TV rights bidder, why would you consider taking the rights to the Indian Super League when two of your rivals are shareholders in the league itself?
It makes no sense, and
It makes no sense.
it also makes no sense from their perspective, from Star's perspective, right? Like when they have no buyers, they're not making money either, and same for Viacom.
Well, you're not going to get a
So-
competitive bid system.
Yeah.
So I got loads of money, right? I don't.
Has this happened anywhere in the world where there is a
I-
channel that's a shareholder? A sports channel that is mad.
Not that I'm aware of.
And you can't even say that there aren't enough sports channels in India, right? There would be competition. There's this 10 Sports and ESPN and all of these.
Look, at the inception in 2014, absolutely, there would be internal competition,
Yeah.
right? But that's the way it all was laid down contractually in 2014. But fast forward to 2024, which is the last year of those numbers.
Yeah.
In 2024, streaming now makes the game global. Not the game on the pitch I'm talking about. I'm talking about the bidding game. It makes it global.
Right.
You could put, do you have Apple TV?
No, I don't.
You don't have Apple TV.
No.
So I've got Apple TV.
Yeah.
And I'm a subscriber to Major League Soccer, which is broadcast globally on Apple TV
Right.
because of Leo Messi, of course,
Yeah.
right? So anyone who's got Apple TV anywhere on the planet can watch Major League Soccer because they did this global deal. And of course, anyone who's got Apple,
Mm-hmm.
right, or the Apple ecosystem can watch Major League Soccer anywhere in the world. Now, in 2014, you couldn't do that.
Right.
Now you can. Netflix. Everyone's got Netflix all over the world.
Yeah.
What was the boxing match last weekend?
UFC.
No, it was a boxing fight. Was it Canelo?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Canelo and was it
was it
Woodward?
Canelo?
Woodward. Anyway,
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but my point is that boxing bout, which took place in wherever it took place, Las Vegas, was broadcast Netflix globally.
Yeah.
So it's now a global platform. Apple is a global platform, so it's now a global game in terms of the broadcast.
Right. But there's still an opportunity now to change that, right? Because again, like you said, 2014, probably the opportunities weren't enough. Now we have the OTT platforms.
No,
We have online
But there's
platforms.
not. But under the current system, and by the way, it's all up for renewal. It's all in the air. It's all up for the renegotiation. It's coming to an end at the end of contractually at the end of December this year, 2025. I mean, that bit in itself is crazy. The league in its inception was a 2-month league, and it finished at the end of December. So when they were writing contracts, this is way back when in 2014 or 2013, whenever the contracts were done. They never envisaged that the season length would change and that therefore we may need to have a clause in the contract that if the season length changes, it'll go to the end of the season, whenever the season ends. Now,
Yeah.
all the other seasons end in May.
Yeah.
So now what you've got is you've got a commercial rights deal ending midway through a season, which is why we've had all this bullshit about the season not starting, because people are saying, well, you know, all the rights holders, or all the stakeholders, sorry, are all saying, whoa, wait a second. What? Why should we get this season going
Yeah.
if our deal, you and me's deal, is going to finish on the 31st of December? That's halfway through the season.
Yeah. So how are they gonna
Bonkers. It's totally bonkers.
how are they gonna navigate that though? It seems very complex
Well,
considering.
to the quick and easy fix is everyone, all the stakeholders, which seems to be what has happened right now, is all the stakeholders sign a piece of paper saying, look, the current terms of the current deal will be extended to the end of this season,
Right.
and in that time, we'll work out what happens going forward.
Right, and that is potentially what's going to happen. And then perhaps you think it's not going to be Star and Viacom that's going to have stakes in this, and it's going to be more of an open bid. So
Star are not going to continue. They're losing money,
yeah,
right? So they're putting in all the production investment, and they bid for the TV rights. They're losing money.
did they ever make money?
No.
In the last 10 years?
No.
So from the get go, this has just been a bad idea.
I wouldn't say it's been a bad idea. I think the concept of an Indian Super League is a good one.
Mhm.
It's the execution that is just. I mean, the execution of the Indian Super League could have been done by a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
Because that's the thing, right? There was everything. There's appetite, there was demand. People really wanted and were craving it. There was also the hype. The marketing was great because we had a lot of the celebrities involved in sort of promoting it. So that was good in terms of the image of football. So which is why did it go so horribly wrong?
Well, you know me. Don't believe the hype.
Mm.
You've known me long enough to know. Don't believe the hype.
Well, you
So-
kind of needed the hype, right? You needed some sort of face. You needed some sort of push.
Well, no. What you could have done when you're talking about hybrid in the US model, what you could have done is for the next 10 years of the league, you could have had one marquee player that goes outside a salary cap or is a unique. You can spend whatever money, just like Leo Messi in America. You could have done that instead of what they did in the first couple of years of the Indian Super League was just spend sackloads
brought
of
in
money.
players,
But bearing
yeah.
in mind, Indian football academies, and I'm talking about the professional clubs, these clubs that you're talking about, those academies have really only come into their own in probably since COVID.
Fine.
So they weren't even on the radar of, and by the way, at the beginning, the superstars, the over-the-hill superstars, were staying in separate hotels to the Indian players.
Mm.
The Indian players were put up in cheap apartment blocks or cheap hotels, and all of the foreign superstar players were put up in the Hyatt and all of these fancy hotels. What?
What was it again? Was it a budgetary thing or just again a series of bad decisions?
Series of bad decisions.
So they had the money then. I can't imagine them not having the money, especially in the initial stages, because of the influx, right? The injection of funds. We saw the Ambanis were involved. We saw the A-listers were involved. So the money would have been there. And we've seen some of these sponsors as well, right? Like Hero MotoCorp, Apollo, big names who've been like title sponsors for ISL, I-League, etc. So the money would have been there. Was it a case of mismanagement of funds?
Yeah, but you're talking about the beginning. You're talking about the early days or the early years.
Yeah,
that's what you're talking about.
I am, yeah.
So I've got a brilliant idea, Shruti. Okay, it's my pen idea. Okay, and I want you to invest in it, and I want you to sponsor this pen. Okay, and I want $1 billion. It's a great concept. Okay, Joe. And we make 1 rupee. Are you going to keep putting $1 billion in and keep putting $1 billion in?
Right.
The concept has now proven that my super pen idea is stupid and doesn't work.
Let's talk about why your pen is not making any money. Why are the clubs not making any money? Why do you think that is?
TV revenues, not good enough.
Right.
Right? Not intense enough. Match day experience or the match day thing not generating enough. Ticket prices are low. They're not like, what is it now in the Premier League? Is it £100 sterling or something for a ticket a game, or an average 90?
But I guess they would need to do that. If there's not enough demand, they would need to reduce the price.
Well, that's the thing. If you don't keep the numbers coming through the gates,
Yeah.
then what happens? They start putting the ticket prices up because, bearing in mind, they have to pay a fee, a match day fee, to the actual owners of the stadiums. And the stadiums are owned by the states, except for one, which is Jamshedpur.
Okay.
So all the other stadiums are owned by local government, state government, central government in some cases. None of them own their own stadiums.
Right.
So you've got to pay a fee to use the stadium on that day. You have no control over the stadium, so you have nothing like F&B, hospitality that we talked about before, club shop that's selling merchandise. You have none of that.
Mm-hmm.
So So the trickle from the matchday experience, TV revenues, pitiful.
Yeah.
Because there's just not the take up, and the broadcasters are going like, we're not sure about the numbers who are watching this. Okay. What were the other things I said?
Sponsorship.
Sponsorship. As the years have gone on, businesses and corporates aren't stupid. What's my ROI? Well, I've now got some data over the last 10 years. My ROI is not what you said it was going to be. Eyeballs is not what you said it was going to be. And then you come down to the last thing, which is player trading, which to me, Indian football talent has a value. And you take a kid whose value is zero, you coach them, you train them, you nurture them, you bring them through into the first team, and whether you keep them or you sell them, they have a value. And it pisses me off, as well as staggers me, that they have never capitalized on that in over a decade. Never. It is absolutely bonkers. And you know why they haven't capitalized on that?
Why?
Because of this stupid Indian football culture, which is, let's give players, Indian players I'm talking about, 1-year deals, 2-year deals, or a 1+1. Young talent I'm talking about.
So no job security.
No job security for the players,
Yeah.
but just park that for a second. If that player turns out to be really good, then someone's going to come along and go, hey, you know what? You can get 3 times the salary by going to this other club without being sold.
Right.
Now, in Europe, the tangible asset is the player, and that's why they give young players 3 to 5, sometimes more, 7-year deals. What does that mean? If the player goes on to be a great talent and a bigger club, a bigger fish comes along and wants to take your young player, you have to pay the money for that young player.
Yeah. But I thought the solution for that was
it's an asset. Players are assets.
The solution for that was the baby leagues, right? Now that they've started the 6 to whatever it is, 10 is it? And then they are kind of building the grassroots. They are trying to do more for younger players. And
but that's the ecosystem on the ground. That's not the players as assets. By the way, I still know of professional players in both the top tier, Indian Super League, and the second and third tiers, especially the I-League 1, I-League 2, who are still on 10-month contracts.
Oh, wow.
10-month contracts in England were out in the 1950s.
Why are they stuck in that then?
Because the clubs don't want to pay wages over the summer months when they're not playing, when they're the close season.
But surely they see the problem. All right, show us the problem, Joseph. Go on, tell us. What do you think these clubs need to do to start generating revenue and becoming profitable, turning all of that green?
The bit that they have no control over, which really needs to be looked at from a national level, is clubs being allowed to purchase land and to build their own stadiums or to repurpose. By the way, you were in India last week, yeah?
Yeah.
You go across India, there's training grounds that have got dilapidated stadiums that haven't had a lick of paint in 50 years.
Yeah.
Why don't you say to one of these clubs, look, you can have it for a token price, go and develop it, give it a lick of paint, and turn it into your home stadium, your home ground, your asset, your tangible asset that you can make money on a match day. So that's number one. Number two, the players. By the way, I don't have it in front of me. FIFA have a table of values for players in the different categories. I think there's 4 categories in different parts of the world for different confederations, whereby that player, if he goes from your confederation, so in this case AFC, Asia, which India is under, to somewhere else, let's say they go to Europe, for all of the years that you've been training that kid, starting from 12 years old up to 23, you can get a fee per year. It's not a lot. It's a couple of $1,000.
Yeah.
A couple of $1,000 for every year that you have been coaching that kid.
Yeah.
10 years, there's $20,000. That pays for every single dime that you've spent on coaching, feeding, transport, whatever you've done with that kid over the 10 years. Why wouldn't you do that?
Well, we've discussed this, right? India doesn't want to send their players abroad. And
not true. It's not that India don't want to send them abroad. There's no incentive to go abroad.
right, but
So
they've also actively blocked players that have had an opportunity abroad. We spoke to Gurpreet about it, and
Yeah,
there was so much.
No, I don't think with Gurpreet, it was slightly different. It wasn't that he was blocked from going abroad. They didn't see the value of him going abroad and put hurdles in his way. Is that the same as blocked?
It kind of is, right? Because they thought they'd lose him from the national team. Wasn't that
No,
the
no. There was people inside the national team setup, the AIFF, at that time who threatened him with his position in the national team squad if he didn't come back and play in the Indian Super League.
right? Right. So basically, they want the players to come back, which I understand is the case. But obviously, we saw with what happened. We spoke about it in the last episode as well, right? He went away. He went back to Norway, was it? And then he trained again, and he was back in form after his training. So that kind of helped him. So don't they see the value of sending people abroad, more players abroad, where A, they get the fee, which you mentioned, and B, they just come back better players?
So there's two roadblocks. One is clubs don't see the value in their players as assets, so they don't tie them up on long-term deals.
Right.
Number one. Number two, if you have at a junior level coaches who don't really know what talent looks like, at the end of every season they're saying, just get rid of Shruti. Right? She's not good enough.
Yeah.
Well, actually, she might. We weren't all the finished product when we were 12 years old. It takes time to get better and to develop and all the rest of it. So
Right.
they throw them on the heap. And then thirdly, and this is really important, you have a lot of agents, I was going to say whispering in the ear of young players, but let's say whispering in the ear of parents of young players saying, look, don't go to Europe or anywhere else for that matter. Weather's terrible. The money, especially in the early stages where you're unproven, is really bad. We know if you stay here in India, we can get you more money. You're going to be set for life. And remember, a lot of these players are from poorer backgrounds.
Right. What is the financial future then for these clubs?
Not very bright.
And it's not going to be bright at all. You don't see a way out.
Not until you change some of the fundamentals. And the reason I say it's not very bright is that from a broadcast perspective, they've now got cold feet.
Yeah.
Star Sports will not be involved in any way, shape, or form.
And that would be a good thing.
No. When I say not involved in any way, shape, or form, I'm talking about like, oh yeah, I've got no doubt that they will exit their share if they haven't done already.
Yeah.
And not as a broadcaster. If Reliance is still the primary driver of the whole project, you now have a problem coming up against Viacom 18, which is their baby. So now you've got a TV rights problem. Why would Netflix, why would Apple, why would any of the other broadcasters come in when they know that the major shareholder of the league has also got their own streaming service? Why are we going to come in, conflict of interest, yeah?
Yeah.
So why do you, we talked about it before, why we're going to pay big money for that? So that doesn't look good. That doesn't look bright. You've got all of these corporate houses that have lost so much money and that are questioning, the league is getting going in December this year. It should have started in August.
Yeah.
At least September. But all of this nonsense, the chaos, the politics, the arm wrestling, the fight for control between the Indian Football Association and FSDL.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't have any clarity what the future looks like. So why should I invest?
Understandable. But what I want to know is, we've seen what's happened here, right, in this region, with Saudi especially. They've managed to turn things around and massively. It's been a huge, huge leap with, bringing Ronaldo over. So they brought some of the bigger players over. Their club is really good. You do a lot with the Saudi Pro League, don't you? And there is heavy injection of funds, but there's also a lot of global interest coming. And now, because of all of these funds and the sovereign wealth's involved and all of that, their status is now elevated, and they're also playing in the major leagues. But that was money that did that, which is why this conversation is important, right? It was all led by money and the right investments in the right places and the right talent. Can this happen to India?
As we stand at the moment, no. Because, number one, there's not the same money swirling around Indian football that there is Saudi football. Remember, football is number one sport in Saudi Arabia. So not India. The lion's share is always going to go to cricket. So money, no. Secondly, Saudi Arabia has done something a little bit clever, and that is they didn't go on the official AFC ruling of which is 3+1. So 3 players who are foreigners plus 1 who's a foreigner from one of the Asian nations. It's
Right.
usually South Korea or Japan or Australia, one of the stronger nations, or Iran. So they've got like 8 foreign players in their, on average,
Mm.
in their first teams in the league. Well, of course, that attracts a lot more eyeballs
Yeah.
internationally because you've got 8 international players from all these different countries around the world.
Yeah.
So it's harder to compete. So they're not on a level playing field. So it's not a like-for-like comparison.
Right. Because they don't have the money for
And they
that.
don't have Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You know, and there's absolutely no way, shape, or form that... Well, actually, I take that back, Joe. I'm saying that there's no way, shape, or form that Indian football could afford to have Ronaldo in its league. However, someone has just paid gazillions for Leo Messi in Argentina to come and play, I think it's 2 exhibition matches in India in November, I think it is.
What?
I know.
So Messi's going to be in India?
Yes.
That is insane. And that must have cost a ton.
Oh, that'll be a few million, yeah.
Wow. So who's paid Messi? Who's got that kind of
It'll
money?
be a corporate house. Someone who wants their picture taken. You know, it'll go down as the most expensive photo in the world, because that's what it is. It's someone's personal vanity project for Messi to come, get the photos taken, plaster my company all over the build up to the game, the marketing, the hype, all the rest of it. It's probably the most expensive selfie in the world, but someone's prepared to pay that. And that money, and this is what boils my blood, that money could have paid for probably the next 5 years of 10 professional academies.
So wrong people with the wrong money, or money in the wrong hands. As always, all right, on that note, on that very dark note, sad note.
Down.
Yeah, I have to say goodbye to you for now. And hopefully next time we're talking about brighter, happier things and brighter, happier futures. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you for joining us as well. We will be back again very, very soon.
Thank you, Shruti.